Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Marcus Holmes, HR Passion to Go. I wanted to take a few moments to spend some time with you on some things that I'm seeing in the inbox and on another platform about people who are seeking jobs. I think people go into seeking jobs and it's red flags all the time. And so I want to help those of you who are experiencing red flags because you may not know that they are red flags and thereby you are being ghosted after an interview. So if you are underemployed, unemployed, unhappily employed, this is for you. And if you are being ghosted after an interview, and if you're not getting interviews, but if you're being ghosted, especially after interviews, I want to help you. And so if you look at right up here, I hope I'm pointing to the right area. Let's just make sure it comes off that way. Yep, that scan there will take you to the stand store where you can get some help to do that, but I'm going to give you some help right now. And so I'd like for you to click share, tag some people to join you. I am on TikTok, Instagram, and I'm on YouTube. So these are red flags. This is part two because I started the red flags last week. And as I begin to talk to people in the inbox, hello, Leslie Davis and others, thanks for joining. As I begin to talk to people in the inbox, Jackie, thanks for joining. People have kind of a skewed understanding of why you are being ghosted. Now, I am not a proponent of ghosting. I've been in human resources for 27 years with the same organization for 22. I have seen tens of thousands of resumes, done thousands of interviews, hundreds of job fairs, and I can tell you that people get ghosted and they don't really lean into the feedback that's being given to them. You're saying you're not getting any, but you are. Are you ignoring what you're getting? So I want to make sure that you understand that. And so I'm going to share this presentation with you of the 20 red flags. And I stopped at number 8. So I'm going to give you 8 more. Give you 8 more so you'll see what is in store. And hopefully you'll be able to read some of this. Let me see if I can make it larger. That might help you read some of it. And let's see if I can move it down so that you can get, yep. All right, hang tight. I'm going to just do my part in this. 20 red flags. If you're interested in the document, let me know via the inbox on any of these platforms, and I'll be happy to share it with you. All right, I'm going to number 8, which you may not see very well. If you move very slowly and show very little energy. Now, if someone knows that you're neurodivergent or have some other uniquely abled capabilities, which they should probably know going into the interview because you might need some accommodation. Someone who goes into an interview with low energy, moving slowly, like I'm barely here, not really attentive, lethargic almost, that seems as if you're disinterested. And that raises a red flag with people. Whenever you're pitching something, and an interview is a pitch, you got to bring a certain amount of gravitas, a certain amount of presence, a certain amount of energy to the interaction because people want to know that you're truly interested in the work for which you are applying. All right. Red flag. Number 9, could not share an honest and candid response to the great interview question. Please share the single greatest mistake you have made in your job in the last 3 years. When you are unable to admit your mistakes, it raises a red flag. This question is one that's typically answered if you're doing if you're doing a one-on-one and a hiring manager, you and the hiring manager. Sometimes it's asked with an interview panel or in a round 3 or above. Okay. And it's probably one of the most important questions that you will be asked in a round 3 or above. I'm saying round 3 because typically that's the hiring manager and the team, or it is the upline of the hiring manager. And they want to know that you can be vulnerable and admit your mistakes because that's a sign as to whether or not you will be able to grow in an organization. Being vulnerable, being open, being trustworthy. Can you trust people with your frailties, with your flaws, right? Are you self-aware about them? And are you prepared to do anything about them? Or will you hide them and cost the company reputation, brand presence, money, right? Really important question. And Uh, you don't want to share a mistake and promptly blame somebody else for the mistake. Own the mistake, or when you say, I can't think of anything, that makes people think that you're hiding who you really are. You want to come across as true and authentic. Okay. So you got to share an honest and candid response. Thank you for joining us, Ricola. Number 10, you had inappropriate language or dress. Now, you might think it's laid back and you can throw an F bomb, you can throw a sugar, honey, ice, and tea, you can have all kind of curt, vulgar language, cuss. Leave that out. Practice not doing that. And make sure that you're dressing for the organization for which you are interviewing. If they are business casual, you're business casual or above. If they are casual, you're business casual or above. You're not going to the interview dressing in a tight t-shirt, ladies, I'm being honest, or fellas, you're going in with a wife beater and a pair of jeans. That might even be how you will work, but you want to go in neat, crisp, and clean. All right. You want them to see you as a peer. You want to appear as their peer in your best version. Okay. And people shouldn't, but this horns effect. I'm doing halo and horns. The horns effect is when you come in the door and you have clothes that are ill-fitted, or clothes that are too big, or clothes you just bought a new outfit and you didn't have it tailored. Those things weigh on the psyche of individual. Even though we try to calibrate hiring managers, we try to teach them not to pay attention to those things. Those things are important. Okay. 11, it depends, but some people are put off when you are chewing gum or eating during an interview. Chewing gum could be considered eating. And if you're chewing gum, smacking on it, popping it, you'd be surprised. People say, oh, I just wanted to have something in my mouth to keep my mouth from drying. Drink some water. The chewing gum could be something that distracts people from the interview. It's a small thing, but for some people, it's big. Number 12, you show a lack of politeness to the staff or them, disrespect, or messiness. So if you ask for a bottle of water, don't leave it unused on the table. Ask, can you discard it? Offer to throw it away or take it to the break room. One recruiter tells of a story that the candidate had the audacity to come into the interview with a big gulp from 7-Eleven, only to leave it on the desk, condensation and all. So you got to be very careful to be polite, not to just place things on people's desk, right? All of the etiquette that you have normally should be on display. If you interrupt them, say, oh, I apologize, I didn't mean to interrupt. Someone could take that as it's a small thing, but people are looking for the small things, unfortunately, in some way to determine who you are. They're trying to find out who you are. So they're looking at every little thing to determine it. Okay. And these are important because if you're a person who is unhappily employed, underemployed, or unemployed, you do not want to ignore these red flags because they could be the reason, or it could be the reasons why you are being ghosted. Now, ghosting is horrible. I'm deeply disappointed by HR professionals who ghost candidates. That should never occur. But sometimes people ghost candidates because they're saying in their mind, are you kidding me? You weren't prepared for the interview. You didn't do this. To me, it's better to capture that in your sentiment and your interview scorecards and give them feedback. But not everybody's going to make the time to do it. Not everybody feels like they're well skilled to do it so that they won't be in any kind of legal trouble, and they just don't do it. But you can know some of the feedback by paying attention to the red flags. All right. Number 13, provided inconsistent and or conflicting information or answers. This is a big one because if you go to tell a lie, most times you have to tell 2 or 3 lies to cover the original one. So if you make up a story, which I tell people, never make up stories in interviews, tell the truth. If they ask you, tell me about a time you had to make a decision at the last minute. You say, oh, I made a decision one time where I saved my boss from losing his or her job. If that's not true, and they go to do follow-up questions, you're going to have to make more lies up. And those lies might ring to them untrue. Some deceptive behaviors when people are lying, they tend to cover their mouth. They tend to cover their nose. Sometimes they shake their head, but they're talking about something positive. It's called incongruency. Or people will look down and to the right. sometimes look down and to the left. And if that's not their baseline, if they don't normally do that before talking to you or while talking to you, it could be a sign of deception. And it raises a red flag when someone delves into something you say, oh, I thought that you were the boss at so-and-so company. And then you look down, well, I was the boss, but then you might be sending them the signal that you're not being consistent. And inconsistent and conflicting answers raise a red flag. I keep doing this because it's like what Oprah says, it raises the hair on the back of your neck. And they go, I thought you said. They may not even drill into the question. They may just jot it down. So you have to be very careful to tell the truth. I know there are tons of people on these platforms telling you when you get when you get into an interview that you should lie. You should absolutely not lie, because most times recruiters, interviewing panels, hiring managers pick up on the inauthenticity. So don't spend time lying. Bring your authentic self. You wouldn't want them to sell you on a job that wasn't authentic. So don't sell them on a person that isn't. Okay. You want the job, but you want to get it for being who you are. Okay. 14. A big one. People think it's small, but it's big. Looking at your cell phone, taking a call, responding to a text during the interview, all of those say that that is more important than this interview. And while your life is important, your children are important, your husband is important, your partner is important, the babysitter is important, all of those things, set aside, if the interview is 45 minutes, set aside an hour and 15 minutes where you can be uninterrupted. Uninterrupted. Turn the phone over, turn it off, put it in your pocketbook. Fellas, put it in your jacket on no vibrate, silent, so that you are not distracted. Those distractions make people think that there's something more important than being in that interview space, and it's off-putting. You get marked down. Number 15, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. This is the last of the 8. I did 9. No, I started at 8 today. All right, so I'm going to have a few left to go over on the next time. Here is number 15. You did not ask any probing questions about the job or organization when afforded the opportunity, and or exhibited a general lack of curiosity about both. Now, there are some things you should already know about the organization and the job going into an interview, right? And if you haven't done your homework, when they do the initial phone screen, because a lot of companies are doing phone screens, that's where you're going to catch up on these things. Hey, I read this about your company. Is this true? Is this what you're doing? I read this. Is this your biggest competitor? I read this. I read that. Ask all of those questions up front, so that when you get in the second round where you're actually face to face or virtual to virtual with someone, you can expound on those questions. I learned this about your company. Can you tell me what you all are going to be doing in the next 3 to 5 years in this area? I'm really interested about that. I learned this about your team. Has there been a lot of turnover in your team? You want to make sure you have questions to probe into the culture, into the competencies, and into the core values. Those are your probing questions. Okay. And you should have those questions in addition to a few others. Now, if you're interested, you should go to the link in my profile for the You Coaching series. There is a way to end your interview, and I talk about it there. And I'd love for you to sign up to get a 24-hour, 7-day a week, 366-day or 65, depending on the year, access to help you move from unemployed, underemployed, or unhappily employed. All right. Those are the 15. And I want to answer any questions that you might have across platforms. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer any of those. All right. Wanted to take a few moments to do that. I'm just going to check across platforms. All right. Thank you so much. All right. I see Chance Pride has joined. I'm going to see if there are any questions to be answered over there. All right. Any on LinkedIn, any on YouTube. Okay. All right. I don't think so. All right. If not, I am going to thank you for your time. That's mine. I will be back later to talk to you a little bit more about some other things that you should do if you are being ghosted on an interview, from an interview. All right. I'm Marcus Holmes. This has been some HR Passion to Go. Appreciate all of you for joining me, and we will see you soon. Don't forget that link at the top is your opportunity to get the job that you deserve. Get that job that you deserve. And you can do it in 30, 60, or 90 days. I'm Marcus Holmes, the HR Passion Guy. I'm passionate about helping you get to the next level. So connect with me. Go to the link in the bio, scan this, or go to the bio, and I will do you well.